Chioma and Jacob. They met by accident, or maybe by fate. Jacob had stopped at the restaurant after a long day, loosening his tie as he scanned the menu. Chioma walked in moments later, sunlight catching in her hair, confidence wrapped softly around her like perfume. The place was busy, and when she realized the only empty seat was across from him, she hesitated for half a second. "Is this taken?" she asked. He smiled. "Not anymore." That was how it began. Their first conversation flowed effortlessly. Light jokes, shared complaints about Lagos traffic, favorite foods, and childhood memories that surfaced unexpectedly. Chioma laughed easily, the kind of laugh that made Jacob forget to check his phone. Jacob listened intently, the way men do when they genuinely care about what you're saying. By the time their plates were cleared, neither of them was ready to leave. They exchanged numbers with shy smiles and that quiet awareness that something had just shifted. Chioma came over a few days later. Jacob's apartment was neat but lived in, smelling faintly of coffee and cologne. She teased him about his taste in music. He offered her wine. They sat close on the couch, knees brushing, shoulders touching just enough to send sparks through both of them. They talked for hours, about dreams, about heartbreaks, about where they saw themselves in 5 years. At some point, the conversation softened. Their voices dropped. Jacob brushed a strand of hair from Chioma's face, his fingers lingering just a moment too long. She looked up at him, eyes warm, breath shallow. Their first kiss was slow, unrushed, exploratory. It wasn't desperate, it was intentional. A gentle meeting of lips that carried promise more than hunger. They pulled apart smiling, cheeks warm, pretending they didn't feel the electricity buzzing between them. She left that night with butterflies in her stomach. So did he. The next visit was different. This time, Chioma arrived in a soft dress that hugged her curves in a way Jacob tried not to stare at, unsuccessfully. They cooked together, bumping hips in the kitchen, stealing tastes from each other's spoons. Music played low in the background. Wine loosened their laughter. They danced in the living room. No choreography, just bodies moving instinctively closer. Jacob's hands settled on Chioma's waist. Hers rested on his shoulders. Their foreheads touched. The kiss that followed was deeper, more confident. Jacob pulled her gently toward him, and Chioma didn't resist. She liked the way his arms wrapped around her, how safe and wanted she felt in that moment. They spent that evening tangled on the couch, whispering, kissing, tracing invisible patterns on each other's skin. They stopped before things went too far, but they both knew. They were circling something inevitable. When Chioma came over the third time, neither of them pretended anymore. The air felt charged the moment she walked in. Jacob took her coat. Their eyes met. Silence stretched, thick, heavy, expectant. He kissed her before she could say a word. This kiss was different. It carried weeks of anticipation, late-night texts, and unspoken longing. Chioma melted into him, her hands gripping his shirt as if she'd been waiting all day for this exact moment. They moved together through the apartment, shedding layers of hesitation along with their clothes. Every touch felt deliberate. Every breath shared felt intimate. They explored each other slowly, savoring the way bodies learn new rhythms, the way hearts opened alongside skin. It wasn't rushed. It was tender. It was intense. Jacob held Chioma like she mattered, not just in that moment but beyond it. Chioma responded with soft sighs and quiet smiles, feeling seen in a way she hadn't in a long time. They stayed wrapped around each other afterward, talking in whispers, laughing softly, tracing circles on bare arms. Neither wanted to be the first to move. That was weeks ago. Now, Chioma's toothbrush lives beside Jacob's sink. They steal kisses while making breakfast. They argue playfully over movies. They fall asleep on video calls when they're apart and wake up to good morning texts when they're together. They still touch each other like it's new, still look at each other like it's magic. Sometimes Jacob catches Chioma watching him from across the room. Sometimes Chioma notices Jacob smiling at his phone midday because she sent a simple, "I miss you." They can't get enough of each other, not because of passion alone, but because what started in a restaurant grew into something warm, deep, and beautifully unexpected, and neither of them is ready to let it go.